By the way, goobs means my goobers. So, friends, thank you, friends, for coming today to Life on Turkey Lane. As you can see, we're in my makeshift pantry room. This house, when we bought it, does not have a pantry in the kitchen, and so we were having a little bit of trouble having enough space. So I will try to link the videos in the cards at the end of this video of how I made this setup. This whole setup here is out of a refurbished, like, older kitchen island that somebody had, and these two little cabinets here on the ends, they were part of like an entertainment system. So I've converted all these things and painted them up and put shelves in here, and this is our makeshift pantry room. And I've taken down all the Christmas decorations a little while back because we are in February now. But anyway, so I still have it set up like as my coffee station. But today we're going to change some of that because I want to start, I want to do some indoor planting and get some herbs started and things. So when spring comes around, we can plant them outside and I'll have some herbs. Normally, what I've been doing in the past for the most part is buying like little basil starts and rosemary starts and different things like that from one of the big box stores. And you know, the prices are pretty high for what you get. And I'm thinking this year they're probably going to be even higher because the prices of everything have gone up, even again, still. So, so I'm going to clean off this shelf here and put the coffee pot. Now, I probably will keep my Keurig out here, but I'm going to set this up until like a plant starting growing space. And so I'm going to clear off some of these things for the hot cocoa and coffee bar. Like I said, I probably will keep the little Keurig out here because every once in a while, it's still winter time, and every once in a while I do want some hot coffee or tea. But I think I'll probably put the other coffee maker up. I've washed the pot and it's in the drainer in the kitchen. But so let's get started on this. I'm going to bring you along and we'll do some potting together, and I'll show you an easy, simple, hopefully it works. Now, I've done a little bit of research about using a shop light as a grow light, and they say it works, so I guess we're going to try it and find out. So I'm going to get started now. We usually do keep the eggs from the chickens, and these need to be washed. Our chickens have slowed down on laying for the winter, but we are still getting, you know, a couple eggs a day usually. So we're blessed that way. But anyway, I'm going to start clearing this off, and so I'm going to just move those out of the way real quick. Yeah, I'm going to get those out of the way. These, I'll put these in the cabinet. Okay, so I will be right back. I'm going to put these things up, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've moved those things up here. I'm going to get the coffee pot off of here, and I'm going to change out this sign. Now, this sign says freshly brewed coffee, and since I'm taking most of the coffee stuff, I think I'm going to put my sign that says groceries and dry goods, and I think I'm going to bring that back in here and hang that up. But I'm going to get rid of the rest of what I need to get rid of off this counter, and then we'll be back to start setting up the grow light system, and then we'll do some potting. So stay tuned. So are you guys ready for spring? I am ready for spring, although I know it's several weeks off yet, but that's okay. We're going to get started in here. And so, like I said, I took most of the coffee bar and the hot cocoa stuff away, and we're going to get started on this grow light system. So I've got 2 1-gallon jugs, and I filled this one about 3/4 of the way, 2/3 to 3/4 of the way full of bird seed. They suggest using like sand. I thought about using soil, but that just didn't work. Or you could use pea gravel. So I'm gonna work on filling this one up with some more bird seed here. And I'll show you what that's for in just a little bit. I don't want to drill any holes in the underneath of my shelves here or in the cabinets or anything to hold the grow light up. And the grow light the light does come with chains. So we're going to use those, but I'm going to show you what we're going to do after I get this jug filled up. I was so disappointed because last year, sorry if this is a little noisy. Last year I didn't buy any herbs or plant starts, and they were expensive, and I really didn't have a whole lot of time on my hands. And you know what? I really miss not having my herbs. So I'm out of dried herbs, and so I had to use like the store-bought dried herbs, and I don't like them as well. Fresh herbs are so much better in cooking, and even as a garnish on top of your food than the store-bought stuff. So can't go wrong with fresh herbs. Plus I want to get some tomatoes started. Here at Life on Turkey Lane a couple years ago, I had started installing a raised bed garden. And I hurt my back really bad and was having trouble even walking. To be truthful, I was in so much pain and stuff, and I was having trouble just with mobility and everything. And you've probably seen a few pictures here and there if you've watched any of my videos, but our backyard, the front of our house, it looks like we have a single level house, but then our house is on a hill, and so the backyard is 2 stories down. And it's really hard for me to get back there, especially when my back was hurt. So this year, I'm just going to grow some plants in pots and containers on my back deck here. They will be easy for me to get to, and I'm really the only one in the house that eats many vegetables anyway. So I'm going to be doing I'm going to start some tomatoes, and I'm also going to start some various peppers. And I'm going to try to do those with grow lights indoors as well and get them started. So that way I can have some fresh produce maybe this year. Now, so I've got these 2-gallon jugs, and they're partially filled with birdseed, and that is just to make them heavy. Okay, and I've got 2 pieces of PVC pipe here. This was actually the pipe that I drilled holes in. If you watch my video on the stackable garden tower that you buy from Dollar Tree, I was trying to, this was an experiment, and I was trying to afterwards, because I noticed that those are kind of hard to water. I was trying to make a little bit of a watering system for them, but that failed also. But I kept the pipe, and we're going to use it in this project today. So I cut that pipe down. I'm going to set this back in here, and we should have plenty of room then. And now that birdseed has made a little bit of a mess on the counter, but I'm just going to brush some of that out of the way here. And I'm going to set one of these gallon jugs on this side and one on this side. Get this out of the way a little bit until we can get this to reach. So now I'm going to unbox this. Now I bought this this light at Menards for $15, and this is not a grow light. I actually thought we had a cheap shop light from Lowe's in the garage, but my husband says that he tossed it because it wasn't working. So I picked this one up. If you know anything about grow lights, usually they're pretty small and they can be pretty expensive. But in my research, I have watched that you can use a regular shop light, an LED shop light, as a grow light as long as it has certain features. You want your light to have at least anywhere from 1500 and more up of lumens, and you also want it to have anywhere around 4000 kelvins. So this light here, actually, it has, plus your light, you really, even though LED lights work, most things that I saw recommended that you have, that plants like, you know, like red and blue light versus like the green and yellow light. And so this particular one here, like I said, it was $14.99, I believe it was. It has up to, let me see if I can find it on here again, the lumens. I know it goes up to 5,000 Kelvin, so that's a good thing there. And it's got 5,000 lumens, so we're good. And it also has three color temperatures, so that's good because it has the blue, red, and the yellow or green. So we're set there. And like I said, it was relatively inexpensive, a lot more inexpensive than a nice grow light. And this is also a little bit longer. So we're gonna see if it works. Now this light is, I believe it's a plug-in. Yeah, it's got a 5-foot long plug-in on it. Let me get the chains down here. Comes with a chain setup, and that's where our jugs come in. Go ahead and get this. Okay, so let me show you this. We're gonna set this up together. Now, I have never done this, so you know, you're along for the ride. And if you've done this and you have some suggestions on how I can do it better, by all means, let me know. There's a couple S hooks in here. Okay, so I'm gonna go get a set of pliers because I'm going to bend one of these little things open here, and I will be right back. So I've got a pair of pliers, and I'm going to bring this up close to you. This, since it don't have two S hooks where there's one on each end, this I'm just going to open up just a little bit with this set of pliers. So that way it makes like a little, well, if I can keep a hold of it. So it makes like a little loop, okay? So we'll take this one back off of here. And now I'm just going to hang this little loop off of this tube right here. And so that way, where did my S hook go? Here's my S hook. So I can put my S hook in the lamp just like that, and then I will be able to hang it off of this thing here to the height that I want it. And so let's get this set up, and then we'll bring the pots in and see how tall I need to have this. Let's get this one set up. I'm going to go ahead and open that little ring there. Put that off the side of this. Okay. Put that there. And now let's see here. Okay. So we've got our grow light set up here. And when I plug it in, that'll be a little bit more stable back there. So let me go grab the pots, and we'll see when you're planting things, when your planting starts. And I'm just going to go ahead and plant them in pots. I'm not going to use like a garden kit with the little like grow starting medium pucks or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and use little pots and then later on, because I want to keep some of the the herbs indoors, and then later on I will thin those out and take the starts and plant them outdoors when it's spring. So let me go get the pots and we'll see how we need to set this up here. Okay, so I just bought these cheap pots from Dollar Tree. They look, you know, fake little terracotta pots, but they're the right size for herbs. So I'm going to use these, and like I said, I'll plant more than one seed per pot so that I can get a couple starts to go outdoors whenever springtime does finally roll around. But what you want to do, your pot, the way it's set up, and let me see if I can get you in where you can see this good. Your light should only be about 2 inches above your pot. So this chain comes in really handy because now I can lower my light so that, and I'm going to go ahead and take this plastic off the light here. Okay, so now I can lower my light to where it's just hovering just above the little pots here. So, and what's nice about the chain is I can just kind of count how many loops I need there. Okay. Right now, since I'm just going to be planting seeds, I can hang this light fairly low. And as the starts set up, as the plants start growing, then I'll turn it in there. Okay, let's see if that's fairly even there. I think this one can go up about one more. There we go. Okay, so we've pretty much got that set up. So let's turn the light on. Make sure, hopefully it works because I've already gone through this. And but I've got a plug right here at my little island station. And there it goes, it works. Okay. So now, and the nice thing about, the light does work, thank goodness. And the nice thing about this is it does have a pull string, so whenever I want to turn it off, I can just turn it off by the pull string. And I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to raise that up, maybe another little loop there. There we go. So that looks pretty good. So then we're going to start getting ready to put some soil and seeds in these pots. So I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I've gathered a few supplies so we can get these pots. I bought these pots from Dollar Tree, and like I said, they're supposed to look like terracotta, but they're just plastic. The reason I bought these and I like these is because for one, the price, but for two, they do have like a bottom on here. So if I overwater, it's not going to spill out, you know, or, you know, liquid isn't going to just drain out the bottom of these things onto my countertop. So that's one of the reasons why I grabbed these instead of having to buy a pot. And, you know, like if you buy a terracotta pot or something like that from Lowe's, most of the time you have to purchase the plate with it. These kind of have their own plate already on there. So that's why we bought those. And I'm going to try to hurry because I'm losing daylight here. It's about 5 o'clock in the evening, and even though it's staying light a little bit longer, right now it's getting dark by 5:45 probably. Let me get you up here, and we're going to try to, I'm going to use this big container here, and I'm just going to put soil in there and moisten the soil so that I can fill the pots with it. And the soil I'm using is, if you can see it down here, I'm using the Stay Green potting mix. And it's important if you're planting containers, if you're doing containers, you can make your own soil mix however you like. If you want like a certain like compost or fertilizer, all that. This is a potting mix, so it's 4 pots, 4 little pot containers, and it's already got fertilizer in it. So I've had pretty good luck with this. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But like I said, you can use whatever soil you like. So I'm going to fill my container here, my pan here up with soil. I'm just going to use one of these pots to dig some soil out of here. And I'm just going to make sure I have plenty because once this gets wet, it's going to shrink down just a little bit. Clean that up. We don't want our pot to be all dirty. I'm going to stick it up here. Okay, and then I've got some water here. I just brought a gallon of water in, and I'm going to start dampening this and pulling out anything that I don't want in there. Start stirring that around and incorporating all that water in here. We want a nice moist soil to plant in. Now this is really dry. It has not been outdoors at all. It's been sitting in the garage. So it definitely needs some moistening. I just want to get down in there real good, and I want to incorporate all that water into the soil and get all of the soil moist, nice and moist. Okay, I think that's pretty good. The soil is moist and it will stay, it's not packed, but it will stay together like that, and that's what you want. You don't want it super saturated, but you want it to be moist enough that when you plant your seed, it can germinate. And you're not having to, because if you water it from the top, first of all, it might displace your seed after planting, you know, if you do too much water on top. But also, your seed needs to be the soil needs to be moist for the seed to have a moisture around it so it can germinate. So, okay, we're going to get these pots filled up. Let me see, I've got a cup in here I think we can use. Okay, so I'm just going to start filling my pots up. Like I said, I probably should have found my garden gloves. So that way I don't get soil all over me. But I like playing in dirt, so we're good. And I'm going to go ahead and pack that down in there some. So that way I have less shrinkage later on. So I want my pots to be pretty full here. Because as you know, soil will shrink down. So I'm just going to fill each one of these pots. And then we'll start planting the seeds. And now these seeds that I have today, I bought them from Dollar Tree. So I don't know, they don't really have a brand name. Oh yeah, it's American Seed Company. I believe that I've watched a few videos where people have used those seeds and they work just fine. So we're going to see how they work. But anyway, I think at Dollar Tree the seeds are, I think they're 4 for $1. Yeah, at least that's what it says on the package. Now, if you get them for that, I don't know. I'm really excited to try this this little lamp in here and starting these herbs inside, because let me tell you, when you can get a pouch of seeds for 25 cents, versus anywhere from $3 to $5 for an individual start for herbs, you know, that's a great savings right there. And this part of the process is messy, but the rest of it shouldn't be too messy. Once I get all this soil, these pots filled up and get this stuff out of the way, we'll clean up our area and then plant these seeds. Get this light on and we'll be good to go. Now if you're using a grow light on seeds, and I'm just going to be honest with you, I am not, I've done gardening in the past, and I've grown herbs just about every year, though I've not really, like I said, done them from seed, because I really haven't had the place to start them from seed. So this year I have a place to do this, so I'm trying this out, and if you want to come along for the ride and just see how this does, I'm not using special pots. I didn't even purchase an expensive grow light or anything like that. So just going to go ahead and use the rest of this moist soil since I've got it out here. Finish filling up the pots here. But anyway, I didn't buy special seeds. I didn't buy special pots. I didn't buy a fancy grow light. But I am interested in growing my own herbs from seed and saving myself some money. And I love fresh herbs. I absolutely crave fresh herbs. And last year, since I didn't plant any, I didn't even get to dehydrate any, because what I usually do, like you've seen in a past video of mine, is what I usually do is buy the starts and plant them, and then during the year, I will harvest off of those and dehydrate some of it, along with having fresh. So, but I will be right back, and I'll show you my seeds, and we'll get started on those. Okay, so I've got my seed here, and like I said, I bought these from Dollar Tree. The package says 4 for $1. I believe that's what I paid for them. And I got cilantro. Now, I have never had success growing cilantro. I have tried growing cilantro 2 or 3 times now and have never had success with it. So, but now I have grown parsley from starts that I bought from like a big box store. It has done amazing. So, and I'm going to try parsley that I got in the package from Dollar Tree. So I may have as great a luck with that as I have in the past with cilantro. I don't know, but we're going to try that. I also got basil and thyme, and I got dill. So I'm going to read on the back of the seed packages the different spacing. I'm not too worried about the spacing, because if I get more than one plant in the pot, first of all, these pots can sustain more than one, like little basil plant or parsley plant indoors. Plus, I can take starts out of these and plant them outdoors when the weather gets warm. And I do have, let's see, looks like I have 4 in there. So I've got some plant markers that I want to use as well, because especially like parsley and cilantro look the same. So the only way you really can tell the difference is by smelling them. So, but anyway, so we're going to get started on doing this. So, but we're just going to plant some seeds in this dirt. Okay, this one's dill. Now the spacing on this is about 1 inch apart. And I think I'm just going to tear the packet top open just a little bit. By the way, with dill and cilantro, as far as that goes, because you can buy dill seed at the store in the spice aisle, and you can also buy coriander seed, which is cilantro, in the store. You get a bigger bottle, and as long as the bottle's fresh, you should be able to plant them and they germinate, as long as they haven't been, for some reason, in packaging sterilized. Now here's the dill seed, and I'm just going to try to put a couple seeds per hole. And these say to plant at about a 1/4 inch deep. So I'm just going to kind of sprinkle those in the hole there. And it will take anywhere from 7 to 21 days to germinate. So herb seeds sometimes will take a little while to germinate. Now I've got those seeds kind of tucked down in there. Cover them up a little bit, those holes. See if I can put the rest of these seeds back in the package here. It's not going to be easy. I got most of them in there. That's pretty good. Okay, we'll just take that little one and pop it down in there. I'm going to get a marker for the plant stakes, and I'm going to get some water in my watering can over here so that we can kind of put water the top a little bit of those. Okay, so I've got my marker. Here's my stick, and I want to tag these right when I plant them. That way, make sure there's not a different size. Dill. That way I know which pot I've put seeds in already, for one, and so I don't put different kinds of seeds in the same bucket. Okay, so I'm going to pat this down a little bit. Now our next one, see, we planted dill. Let's do some basil. Now this one also says sow at a 1/4 inch depth and 1 inch apart. So and it takes 5 to 10 days to germinate. So this one will germinate just a little bit faster. And I tell you what, I think I'm just going to sprinkle a few of these over, and we'll have to, we might have to thin out, but I think that'll be okay. Because these are very tiny, tiny seeds. I don't know if you can see them there. They're very tiny. And so I'm just going to sprinkle those on. And then I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of soil over the top. Just a little bit of dried soil. Just to kind of cover them ever so lightly, because they're only supposed to be buried about a 1/4 inch deep. And then I'll go ahead and water those. Let me go ahead and just, even though the soil on the dill is moist, I'm going to go ahead and just moisten the top just a little bit more to make sure everything's planted in there okay. And if you notice, my little pot here has some Gorilla tape on it because it got a crack in it, and I haven't been back to the store to buy a new one. Okay, so that was basil. Okay, so we'll put that back in the back edge of that pot. Bring up this one. Okay. I'm going to take that little piece of bark or mulch out of there, I think. Okay, now let's try the thyme. Thyme says that the plant spacing should be 12 inches apart and it takes 8 to 20 days to germinate. I'm going to do again, it's sowed a quarter of an inch deep. I think I'm going to do the same thing for it like I did the basil. And these are even tinier seeds. My gosh, they're microscopic. So I'm just going to, like I said, do a little sprinkle. And if I have to thin out, I think that's okay. Because there's no way, I mean, I think these are every bit as small as carrot seeds. If not smaller, to be honest with you. And I'm not putting that many in my hand. And I'm going to get just a little bit of the dry soil just to cover that up. Not even much there because those are so tiny. And then I will water those in place. Okay, and I don't want to water too much because I can see already that my basil, the pots are full, and I'm going to have to soak this up. Okay, so this one was thyme. I went ahead and brought a little towel out here and put it on the counter. So that way if we have any more, a little bit of drainage from these pots, I won't flood my countertop. So that one was thyme, or thyme, as some people might say it. I've always called it thyme. So, and that's that one right there. Okay, now we got parsley and cilantro next. So let's do parsley and see what it says. It says the depth is a quarter of an inch deep, 21 to 28 days germination, and then the plant spacing is 6 to 8 inches a piece. But like I said, I'm not going to worry too much about if I have to thin them out because these also are very small seeds. So I'm just going to try to put one or so here and there. And then if I have to thin out, that's no big deal. Besides, I'm planning on taking some of these, like I said, taking starts from them and sowing, growing some of them outdoors later on. See if I can get those back in the pouch. Okay, that did good. Okay, and I'm just going to move the soil around just a little touch. I'm not going to re-water this. This is pretty damp enough. I'm just going to pack the soil down just a tiny bit. Try to get those seeds down in there. Then we'll mark it. Okay, that one was parsley. And I'm going to separate the parsley and cilantro just in case. Parsley. How about we move it over to where the basil is. Move the basil down there and we'll put the cilantro in this one. So now I know cilantro seeds are fairly large. They're coriander seeds. 7 to 14 days for germination, a quarter inch deep. Seed spacing 6 to 12 inches. Yeah, see, you can see these are larger. So those will not be hard to just poke in the soil here one by one. So that's what I'm going to do there. And I'll probably have to put a layer of soil on top of this. I'm going to go ahead and tuck those down in there and just cover them up. Some of those seeds were, I think, smaller than carrot seeds. Just tuck it down and cover it up. we got those covered up. Now I am going to go ahead and just put a little touch of, just a sprinkling of water on the top of each one of these, though they probably don't need much of it. Now, move my seeds out of the way. I'm going to put the rest of the coriander seeds back in the pouch there. And it's going to do just a little sprinkling. And see, the nice thing about this little plant bar here, even though it hangs down low over the plants, I can pull the plants out to do a little bit of watering. And then just tuck them back under there. Thyme, that was a little dry on top. But gosh, those thyme seeds are tiny. All right, guys, so here's the moment of truth. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and clean this little bit of water mess up. Get my seed pouches out of the way. Right there. All right, now I've got my pots underneath the bar here. The light is hanging relatively about 2 inches above, should be about 2 inches above the soil. That might be a little bit high there. Let's see, I'm going to take this down just maybe one more notch. It just needs to be right above the soil. Alright guys, I think we've got this set up. Let me pull that out there and wipe that count off a little bit. Okay. Alright, we've got our little thing set up, and there's a little switch over here on the side that tells you if it's 3,500, 3,000, 4,000, or 5,000 lumens. Right now I've got it set at the 5,000. Turn this on, and there we go. And now when you start plants indoors, you should let them be under the grow light for about 18 hours a day. So what I figured I would do is turn my lights off. I think I'm going to buy a timer and schedule them where they will turn off at midnight and come back on at 6 a.m. So there we go. I'm excited to try this. I definitely want some fresh herbs this year. And like I said, I'm excited to try this. I know this little session here was a little bit of a mess because since I had already moistened the soil quite a bit, and then I poured a little bit more water, the pots just couldn't hold all that. But that's okay. And these seeds are not going to be, they shouldn't rot in the soil or anything. They should be just fine. This light don't get hot really per se. And so, yeah. But we'll see how this goes. And hopefully this little experiment goes well. And I will be back to share with you how these things go. Like I said, some of these seeds take about 3 weeks, nearly 3 weeks to germinate. So in my book, that's quite a long time, but then that gives them time to grow before transplanting outside, because they'll want to grow in the pot for probably about 6 weeks. Or you plant them out, you want to start them inside at least 6 weeks before the end, before your last frost. So, and then you can plant them outside. So we'll see. I'll hopefully be back with an update here in a few weeks. Bye. Take care, all.